Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to GEG UK, live here on YouTube for something really special tonight. Really, as an opportunity to give us all some time back, because conscious that it's been a really, really busy term. I myself am on half term, so quite fortunate. I know some people have got a few days to go, and you can do it. I'm sure you're looking forward to having a break. But one of the things I really wanted to do, and the reason why we wanted to put this show together for tonight, was to give you guys the opportunity to check out something that has absolutely changed my life and given me so much of my time back. So without further ado, I'm just going to introduce you to Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Darren. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for joining us. I'm really excited because this is one of the things that was introduced to me by a colleague of mine, Claire, and I gave it a try and I was immediately sold. So we're here tonight to talk about Blaze. You're joining us, Dan, from Sunnyvale, California. So thank you very much for traveling all this way virtually for us. And those people that are watching, please do say hello in the chat. If you're watching on demand, you can always as well send questions through to us and we can come back to you with answers on those. But Dan, do you want to give us first, before we get started, a bit of background on Blaze?
Absolutely. I will start by saying that it's great to be here and thanks for inviting me. My mom was a teacher, so I know firsthand both the good side and the bad side of being a teacher, and it's really nice to see so many teachers using TextBlaze and getting so much value out of it. Scott, my co-founder, and I used to work for Google, where we saw firsthand the need for a tool like TextBlaze. Regardless of the type of work that you do or what tools you use, there's always friction, there's always repetitiveness, and as you said, that reduces productivity, but it takes you away from focusing on where you add the most value, and also it takes you away from spending more time doing fun stuff and spending time with your loved ones. And so TextBlaze is there to address that pain point, trying to eliminate as much as possible from what we call the low value toil, so you can spend as much time on adding value.
Absolutely.
Cool. I'm more than happy. So I have a demo prepared. Should I jump straight to it?
Go for it. Yeah, I'm more than happy, because you'll do a much better job of it than I will.
I'll be more than happy to learn about how you use TextBlaze as well. What I thought we could do is I'll start with giving a quick sense of what TextBlaze is and how it can be used. And then I'll go step by step through how to install it, how to start using it. I'll talk a little bit about collaboration in TextBlaze, because that's very important, and teachers can really use that capability. And then try to just touch on the more advanced capabilities of TextBlaze and how you can automate more and more of your workflow. And you will keep me honest, so we leave as much time at the end for questions.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it. And I'm sure, like I said, I have made use of TextBlaze and it's been fantastic, but I'm sure I'm going to learn loads more this evening. So do you want to bring your screen on, Dan?
Let me present.
Here we go.
Right. Can you see my screen?
There we go.
All right. So at the core, TextBlaze is very, very simple. You save what we call snippets, a snippet of text you type often. You assign a keyboard shortcut to it, and of course, I'll show you how to do it. But then everywhere, as long as you're in the Chrome browser, inside the browser, anywhere you go, you can insert that text with a keyboard shortcut. So for example, if this is an essay that someone submitted and I need to provide some feedback, I can do it in a comment. Insert the feedback and I just insert it. Or if I want to send an email to someone, I can insert, if this is an email that I type frequently, I can insert it with one keyboard shortcut. You'll notice that today's date was insert automatically. I'll get to that towards the end. Maybe it's a report card. Let me clear this form. So I can type the name, but then just very quickly insert all of the feedback that I have. As long as I know what I want to type, I made the decision, typing it becomes very, very simple with TextBlaze. And, I can do exactly the same thing in, for example, Google Sheets. Now, so that is the basic usage of TextBlaze. It's very easy to set up. We'll go through it in a minute, but that's how you start saving really hours of typing very, very quickly. From there, you can gradually automate larger portions of your workflow with some of the more advanced capabilities of TextBlaze. That include things like, for example, dynamically inserting dates. I'll show some more examples, but you saw that here. The other thing that you can do is you can turn your snippets instead of just being plain text, you can add form fields and make them really templates that you can customize in real time. So, for example, a very simple example will be something like that, where I have just a text field where I can insert someone's name, and then when I enter the snippet, it gets inserted as text. But I was able to customize it and personalize it in real time, and there are other ways to do that, other form fields and so on. Another way to do that, let's assume that I have a lot of things that I can add to the overall assessment. I will add, let me remind myself of the shortcut. Yeah. Okay. I can have a drop down with different types of feedback that I want to provide. And then I just select the ones that I want to include. And they automatically populate the actual feedback. And then I insert it, and it gets inserted as text. But really, this allows me to really personalize the feedback to the specific student, have the types of sentences or paragraphs that I might want to include, but then in real time, decide which ones actually make sense to this specific student and just add them, and the entire text gets inserted. The last thing that I mentioned that you can do, you can actually move data from one place to another and automate everything that you can do with your keyboard. So as an example, let's assume that I have all of my information, all of the feedback information in a spreadsheet, and this is feedback that I collected about a specific student. I can copy it and then automatically paste all of it into the form with one keyboard shortcut. So again,
can I just so that recognizes the different questions from the sheet and just automatically separates it?
Yeah. So what it does is it doesn't recognize the question, but I just programmed it to insert the first spreadsheet cell into the first cell here.
Right.
Move to the next one with a tab key. So I'm simulating the tab key, then insert the next piece of feedback in the next one, and so on. So I'm automating the entire workflow by simulating what I would otherwise do with my keyboard.
Yeah.
And you can automate everything that you would do with a keyboard. So overall, the goal is to allow you to make the decision. What is it that I want to write, where, and then TextBlaze should automate all of it for you. All right, so that's the intro. Next, I'll just go through the process of installing TextBlaze and starting to use it. Darren, anything that you want to cover before I jump into the instructions?
No, I think one of the things that I really loved about it was fairly self-explanatory once you got into it, and the fact that you can choose your own shortcuts. And I found myself there as you were using yours, thinking, okay, what the letters standing for? Because I've kind of develop my own little way of doing it through shorthand kind of thing. So CFB, was that choose feedback?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
consolidated feedback or something like that.
I
Yeah.
get really sadly geeky about things like that. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, let's dive in and show people how they can go about setting this up for themselves.
Right. So I'll switch to another browser. You start by going to our website, which is Blaze.Today. You can see it here. Just type the URL Blaze.Today. If you haven't installed the extension yet, there's a big button that says download the extension. Click on it. It will take you to the Chrome Web Store. TextBlaze is a Chrome extension. And then you can see that we have a perfect 5-star review with over 100,000 users. And then I just add it to Chrome. It asks for permission, and then it adds itself to Chrome. It immediately takes me to the TextBlaze dashboard where I need to sign up. There are 2 ways to sign up. If you're using Gmail, then you can just sign up with Google. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you insert your email address and select a password.
So that might be the last time you ever type your full email address, mightn't it?
That's fine. Feel free to email me with questions. If you sign up using Google, which I'll do here, then you're done. But if you sign up with an email and a password, then TextBlaze will send you an email asking you to verify your email address, so we know that this is really your email. It's important to do that because I'll talk about collaboration. In order to collaborate, you need to first verify your email address. So please do that. And then once you sign up, this is the TextBlaze dashboard. And I'll switch to my other account in a second, but let's first just cover very quickly how I create snippets. And so the way I do that is on the left, these are my folders. Folders are just containers for snippets, and then you have the different snippets. When you first set up your account, there are a few example snippets that you can look at. Then I can just create a new snippet by clicking the big plus button. And this is a snippet. A snippet has 3 components. One is the name. This is just a description to help you understand what the snippet is about. The second field is the keyboard shortcut. This is what you'll type anywhere on the web in order to trigger the snippet. As Darren suggested, it's best to come up with some way to create this shortcut so it's easy for you to remember what shortcut is linked to what snippet. I'll not follow that best practice here and just do something very simple. The other thing I would say about the keyboard shortcut is you want this to be something that you will only type if you want to insert the snippet. That's why we often start with the / Some people start their snippets with a semicolon. Anything is fine, just as long as you don't use something that you will type without meaning to actually insert the snippet. And then the last part of the snippet is the snippet itself. This is the big text editor. It's a full-blown text editor, so I can just type. Let me type something. But I can also change the font, change the color, add lists, and so on. So really a full-blown text editor. You can add links. You can also add images. That's part of TextBlaze Pro. I'll talk about the different programs, but overall, I should have mentioned this before. TextBlaze is free and it's free forever. Some advanced capabilities are only available on the paid subscription, but I'll mention them explicitly when I cover them. And so, and this is it. If this is something that I type over and over again, I am ready to start saving time. I can look at what the snippet will look like here in the preview tab. Since it's plain text, it looks exactly as I typed. And actually, I can actually test it here. I can create a little text box, type the keyboard shortcut, and see what the snippet would look like. But then I can now go anywhere inside my Chrome browser and insert that snippet using the keyboard shortcut. So that is the basic usage. Let's cover a little bit about different ways to trigger the snippet, and I'll switch to this other one. So let's assume that I start accumulating a lot of snippets. Remembering the keyboard shortcut might be challenging. We talked about using some mechanism to help you remember some shorthand, but there are ways around that. So one thing is the right-click menu. Anywhere I go, in some apps it doesn't work because they override the right-click menu. But typically, if I right-click, I can go to the TextBlaze menu. This will show me my different folders, and within them, the different snippets that I have. It shows the name or the description and the keyboard shortcut. So I can just insert them from here, or I can see what the keyboard shortcut is, and then remember to use it the next time. But this is one way to insert the snippet. The other way to insert the snippet is through the quick entry menu. The way you trigger it, you can trigger it with your mouse and with your keyboard. To trigger it with your mouse, just click on the TextBlaze icon in the extension menu. If you don't see the TextBlaze icon, that's because it's not pinned, and you should click here and click the pin next to TextBlaze. But then you can just click on this icon and start searching. What it does is it searches the name, it searches the content as well as the folder of the snippet, and it shows you the search results. You can just select either one of the snippet and insert them from here, or by just clicking enter, or you can just see the keyboard shortcut and use it the next time. Now we used the mouse to click on this. The other way you can trigger the menu is with the keyboard. So the way to find out what's the keyboard shortcut to trigger this quick entry menu is you click on the extension icon, the one that looks like a piece of a puzzle. Go to manage extensions, go to the hamburger, and then keyboard shortcuts. Here you can see that for me, it's Options Shift Space. That's the default for a Mac, but you can actually change that. It will be different for Windows. And if you want, you can just click here and change it to something else. But if I go back, I can simply, with my keyboard, type Option Shift Space. Oh, I know what's wrong. Okay. Option Shift Space. Not sure why it's not working. Oh, it's because I override it. Option Shift Space. There you go. Option Shift Space. And then it opens the menu. You can search for your snippet and then just insert it from here. All right. That is basic usage of TextBlaze. Follow these steps. And again, like everything that you type that's repetitive, you can start saving really hours in a matter of seconds. Next, I will talk about collaboration, but let me take a quick pause. Darren, any questions that I should answer or anything to cover?
No questions coming through yet, but we've got some people joining us from Texas this evening, and people in London as well. So great to see some VIA 20 colleagues of mine on the call as well, and lots of positive feedback already, both tonight on the screen, but also from what I've seen with people where I've showed it to them as well. So I think it's a fantastic tool, and I will say now, I had to write my first set of reports of the year for students, and I did a very similar thing to what you did with the spreadsheet and the Google form. We have to do it in a third party reporting structure, but I did a very, very similar thing, but it wasn't quite as sophisticated. So I'm interested to see from a collaboration point of view and those drop down options as well, how I might take it to the next level. But even just doing it the old fashioned way with a choice of, a good report, a bad report, a medium report, and that kind of thing, and then just going in and changing the names and bits and pieces saved me so much time. So really excited to see what else I could have done if I'd have been a bit more adventurous.
So yeah, that's great to hear. What I will say is, in the allotted time, we can only really scratch the surface in terms of what's possible. But I will say this: the goal of today, from my perspective, is to just get you excited about what's possible and get you and everyone listening to start using TextBlaze. Now, there are plenty of resources to take you to the next level. We have great documentation. We have a community forum of active users that really like to help each other. And you should never hesitate to just email us on support@blaze.today, and we're more than happy to answer any question that you have.
Right.
All right.
We have just had a question coming from Ruben, actually, asking, looking at the pricing, how many snippets are included in the basic package?
So the basic package comes with 20, but then you can expand it to 50. You just need you get 10 more for every person you refer, and so you end up to 50.
Brilliant. Thanks for that.
Cool. All right, let's talk a little bit about collaboration. Collaboration is a key feature for TextBlaze. You can get a lot of value from TextBlaze by just using it by yourself, but it becomes so much more powerful when you use it together. And you can imagine a world where you're preparing to grade an essay, there are multiple teachers grading similar essay. You can have a subset of them create the different feedbacks and then share it with all the teachers, and then everyone can use it. And so everyone can provide high quality feedback that's personalized without spending a lot of time creating what the exact feedback would look like. So let's talk about how you do it. The way you collaborate on shared snippets is you share a folder. So this is a folder. I have one, GEG UK, and when I click on the folder, I can change the name. But the other thing that I can do is I can share the folder. When I share the folder, I can share it with people using their email addresses. So again, this is me. And they can become separated. I can add as many as I want. And then I give them a role. You can see here that the default role is a viewer, but I can also make them editors and owners. A viewer means that if I created a folder of snippets and I share it with someone, let's say I share it with Darren as a viewer, once Darren accepts the folder, he can start using the snippets in the folder, but he cannot make changes to the snippet. So this is a way for me to create something for everyone and just have them use it. If I make Darren an editor, that means that for all the snippets in the folder, he can actually go in and make changes to them as well. And it becomes like a shared doc, like a Google Doc or whatever shared doc, where multiple people can make changes for the same to the same snippets. Now, that might cause some concern because there can be conflicting changes, and how do we synchronize the changes? And so we have a lot of capabilities to support that. But before I go there, one thing I will say is that if I share a folder with someone, it doesn't automatically appears in their dashboard. They get a notification, it will show up here, and they'll also get an email, and they need to accept the folder. They need to enable the folder before they can start using it. And so there's no risk of someone sharing a folder and it immediately appears there. But in order for you to accept the folder, because we share it with an email, you need to have your email verified. So please make sure that you verify your email. And so once we have shared folders, then you'll get notifications when someone makes a change to a snippet. So you can see here next to the snippets, there's a little circle. That means that a change was made to the snippet. If I click on the snippet, I can see that I made a change to the snippet about an hour ago. And I can actually go in and look at the content change history, and I can see how the snippet has changed over time. Who made a change and what was the change? I can look at what was the previous version like, and if needed, I can revert to the previous version. The other capability to support collaboration on shared snippets is chatting. I can click on this, copy someone. What you see here, teams and organization, that's for the business plan of TextBase, but I can just copy someone and say something. Let's change X to Y. I can refer to other snippets if I want, but then I post it. In this case, the person that I copied, and I can copy multiple people, will get a notification, will get an email that they can come here and then respond to that comment and so on. We can have a comment thread, and once we're done, we can just delete the comment thread. Okay, one other thing that I'll say about shared snippets. Sometimes, if someone shares a folder with me, it has their keyboard shortcuts. There can be a risk that their keyboard shortcuts conflict with my keyboard shortcuts. And so one thing that you can do, and this addresses also the issue of running into the limit of the number of snippets you can have on the free plan. The limit that you have is on active snippets. You can always go to a folder and disable it. As you can see, it only disables it for you, and it doesn't go away. It will still show up here. As you can see, I have a lot of disabled folders. It will still show up here. You can still go in. You can see the snippets. You can make changes to the snippets. The only difference is that you can trigger the snippets. But that addresses two pain points, which is one, if I have conflicting shortcuts, if I disable a folder, it is no longer conflicting. And the other thing is, if I have more snippets than the limit, then I can disable a folder and those snippets don't count towards the limit. All right, so that is collaboration. Next, I'll try really in 5 minutes to talk about the more advanced capabilities. Again, just giving you a sense of where they are and what you can do. And as I mentioned before, many resources to help you take the most out of them. All right, so let's cover that. So I'll create a snippet and talk about a little bit about the dynamic capabilities. All the dynamic capabilities show up here at the bottom, and you can scroll through the different menus and see what's available. The big buckets of capabilities are date and time, inserting dynamic date and time. There's what we call autopilot, which is simulating keyboard strokes, so anything that you can do with the keyboard. And then there are form fields and dynamic capabilities, which is turning your snippets into templates that you can customize in real time when you're actually inserting the snippet. So let me quickly show you what's possible. Here I can insert the date. I can insert it in different formats. So this will be the full date. This will be just the date. And now when I look at the snippet, it will insert today's date or the day today, and I can start using the snippet. So these are dynamic dates. You can similarly do the time, the current time. So this is the full time in California. And you can also shift both the date and the time. So if you want to say something like, I will call you back or I'll get back to you in 2 days, you can do time and date shifting and insert the date, for example, in 2 days. This is what it looks like, and I can change the format if I want, and I can also change the shift. Instead of 2 days, it can be something else, 5 days. Let's actually do 5 weeks. Wow. Now, when I use the snippet, this will be the date 5 weeks from today, and you can check, but that should be pretty accurate. And so as a title, I will say any time and date math that you want to do first Monday of next quarter or the last Thursday of last month, all of that is possible with TextBlaze. So I see the question. If you're doing rich text, if you're changing the font, if the where you insert the snippet supports rich text, then it will work. And the way to check it is take something with rich text and try to copy and paste it into your system. If it pastes with the rich text format, then it will do the same with TextBlaze. If it turns it into plain text, then with TextBlaze it will do the same.
Brilliant.
All right, so that's date and time. Very quickly, what I showed you before is the clipboard. So the clipboard is the memory of when you copy something, that's where that data is stored, and you can refer to that. So you can insert the clipboard contents, and if I copy new snippet, then the content of my snippet will be new snippet. If I copy /do, then the content of my snippet will be /do. There are many ways you can manipulate the content of your clipboard. You can take it and split it by space or by tab and then take the different entities. Obviously, we won't go into that, but just know that there's a lot that we can do. And then the next big bucket is what we call autopilot. This is the ability to simulate everything that you do with your keyboard. And if you can move between fields, if you need to select from a drop down, as long as you can do it with your keyboard, you can do it with TextBlaze. So an example will be typing some text, clicking tab, typing some more text, clicking tab again. And now if I go to my form, let's clear it, and I type the keyboard shortcut, it will just type AA, click tab to move to the next field, type BB. So that's, and again, everything, clicking through, selecting from drop downs, down arrow, up arrow, and so on, you can do that.
Brilliant.
I don't know, the color of my screen looks a little funky right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's just me. Anyway, I'll move on.
Looks okay this end, Dan. That's fine. I've got a question in from Emine asking, how much text can one snippet contain?
So again, there's a little bit of a difference between the free plan. On the free plan, it's either 2,500 characters or 5,000 characters. If I remember correctly, I'll check in a minute. I'll get back to you.
Lots.
Yeah, it's pretty long. And on the paid plan, it's essentially unlimited.
Wow. Okay.
Let me give you the actual answer, the correct answer instead of guessing. Yeah, so it's 2,500 characters on the free plan and 25,000 characters on Pro. All right, last thing that I'll cover, and then I promise I'll leave time for questions, are form fields. So form fields, again, is a way to turn that your snippet into a template that you can customize in real time. Out of everything that I presented so far, form fields is the first thing that's not available on the free plan, but you can test it. So you can use it up to 5 times a day. And it's pretty straightforward. The way I would use it is I'll say, hey, hi, And then here I can add a text field. I can give it a name, I don't have to. Let's call it name. I can give it a default value, I don't have to. And now when I use the snippet, the form text field shows up. I can insert a name. And when I actually insert the snippet, it inserts this as text. And there's more than you can, there more types of form fields. I can have a drop-down menu with different options. And then when I trigger the snippet, I can select from that drop-down and insert it. What you saw me do in the beginning is a drop-down, but I can actually change the drop-down to be multiple selection. And so if I do that, then I don't have to just pick one. I can pick more than one option. And then again, it gets inserted as text. There's also a date picker and other types of form fields. And then you can do a lot of sophisticated things with form fields. Again, this goes into Pro, but if I call this price, and I can do a formula that is price times to calculate the price with tax. And so now when I use the snippet, there's a text box for the price. Once I insert the price, the other one will be calculated on the fly. And then when I insert it, everything gets inserted. There's also dynamic if-and. I won't go into using it, but you can actually customize the content of your snippet based on your selections or based on some conditions. I have one example for that ready. Here in this snippet, I need to insert a test score. If it's below 70, the text will be, unfortunately, you failed and so on. But if I change this to 80, it will say, congratulations, you passed, keep up the good work. And so you can, again, decide how you want the text to change based on that. All right, that's all I had. I think we have about 8 minutes left. I can stay over, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
That's brilliant. I think you're doing yourself a disservice by saying that's all you have, because it's even though I knew a little bit about this previously, that's that dynamic option. I tried it out with inserting the name of the person that had emailed me back into the reply and things like that.
Yeah.
It never occurred to me to be able to do things like that, which is absolutely superb. I mean, one of the things I've made use of it from just playing around with things like hashtags on Twitter, rather than having to constantly retype quite complex hashtags. And I'm making a conscious effort at the moment to try and make sure that I'm including capital letters where I need to make it easier for people to read. For those longer hashtags, just to be able to have a little snippet just makes life so much easier. And as I said as well, I've already used it for reports and things, but the other things that I've used massively, and it's almost kept me sane, I have to say, is things like quick replies in things like Google Chat, where I'm in a meeting or I'm on a live call or whatever it might be. Just being able to do a snippet reply that says, I'm on a call at the moment, I'll get back to you straight away, means that those people are getting a response, but they know that it's not going to be immediate. And for me, that's important to me. But also as well, quite often I get sent things like requests for IT support, which really should go through our formal reporting channels. So I've created a snippet that basically says, that's a job for our IT team. Please forward it to this email address and they'll be able to help you with it. And that has saved me an infinite amount of time. So, you know, that in itself has just been a fantastic discovery. But we have got a question from Danielle, who's joining us from Northern Ireland, who says, are there any translation features available with TextBlaze?
Translation, so between languages. So there isn't that capability right now. What I've seen some of our users do is you can have the same text in multiple languages in different snippets, and then what they do is they have a drop down that allows them to select the language, and then it just inserts the snippet or a series of snippets in that correct language, but no direct translation.
But still, like you say, you've got that option to have the same snippets in multiple languages, and you just select the one you want, which is really easy to create as well. If you use something like Google Translate to create to translate a document, you can then take that information, put it into your snippets. That's brilliant. I have to say, I have used the collaborative folders. We use that with our department, and I created some report comments and things like that people were then able to access. I didn't realize just how powerful the ability to make them an editor or a viewer was, in that I would be able to see who made the changes. I got a bit scared, if I'm honest, that they might go in and change too much. But now, next time round, absolutely superb. And I know that our trust is looking at potentially getting a full kind of full accounts for everybody across the trust, which would be phenomenal and really improve that collaboration and that consistency as well. And I know Ruben mentioned earlier on in the chat that he's going to take it straight to SLT as soon as he's emailing them straight away to get I think he's going to email you to get a site price and then sell it to SLT as well, which is fantastic. And then Carlos, who's over in the States, where is it, has been really, really positive. It looks amazing, but he's had to go back to work, so he does apologize.
Thanks for joining us.
And there are some people that joined us a little bit later who said that who will catch things on the replay. But it is one of those things that is so simple, and simple works. I say simple for us, maybe not simple in the background.
Definitely true. And that, credit belongs to Scott, my co-founder and CTO. What I will say, it's very important for us to talk to our users, understand how they use TextBlaze, but also what they're struggling with, what's not very simple, or what they wish TextBlaze could do, like translating, and doesn't do right now. So, as I mentioned before, we have great documentation. There's a great community, and we are in the community all the time, and we answer questions. But don't hesitate to just email us, again, support@blaze.today with any question or thought, or really just email me directly, dan@blaze.today, with feedback, questions. How is it possible to do the following with TextBlaze? The question typically is yes. And then how do I do it? We have people that can just help you set up the snippet to do what you want it to do.
Fantastic. I know one of the questions that I will definitely want to ask is there any capability with regards to sort of mathematical content?
Anything that you can imagine. What do you have in mind specifically?
So, just for example, those shortcuts for symbols that you might use regularly. So, if you were saying put together a Google slide or a worksheet, and maybe you weren't aware of how to get in things like your square root symbols, your subtext, your supertext, all those kind of things. Does that all work?
So we don't. So formulas. So you can calculate formulas. You can do anything. But like presenting formulas, you can use Unicode characters, but you can do like sophisticated formulas.
Okay.
One thing that I would say, like on top of formulas, we had a nice, there you go. So there's a showcase here with some nice examples. So one of them, it reminded me of the ability to do different things and also present graphs in TextBlaze. So these are snippets, by the way. And so this is showing the quadratic formula, and I can change the parameters and it will change. And there are a lot of similar things that you can do. So you can also insert images on the fly, and they can be even parameterized images. So this being one example.
That's really cool. So you could potentially have the same sort of snippet, but give a slightly different slant to each student depending on the feedback you were giving them or a challenge you wanted to give them. That's excellent. Really cool. Love that. Written and visual as well, which is, you know, so important, especially in this day and age. That is brilliant. If anyone's got any more questions, please do post them in the chat. I think, as happened with me when I first saw it, it kind of blows your mind to start with, and then you go away and start to think about, oh, would it be good if I could do this and do that? So I'll definitely be checking out the community and the ideas and the suggestions that people have already put in there, because I think there's so many capabilities, and it's just, yeah, it is mind blowing. But as I said at the outset, I'm absolutely sold. I think it's fantastic. I've shared it with loads of people, both professionally, but also just in like personal life as well, because it saves so much time and makes things so much easier. So I don't think there are any other questions. So I just want to say huge thanks to you, Dan, for joining us all the way from Sunnyvale. I really do appreciate it, and for showing us, you know, just the tip of the iceberg of what TextBlaze can do. And I know, as I say, some colleagues of mine are going to be in touch about setting up accounts, definitely. And it sounds like you're going to have some more contact from other people as well. So thank you very much for taking your time out this evening.
Thanks for inviting me. It's been a pleasure, and I'm happy to come again and do the TextBlaze 201 for the more advanced usage.
Absolutely, we'll definitely look into that. It's been brilliant. Thanks so much, Dan, and thanks everyone for joining us, and to everyone who's watching on catch up as well. And remember, all of those email addresses, the community forum, the link to the extension, everything else are all posted in the chat. So just head there and get yourself set up and give it a try. Thanks ever so much, everyone. See you next time. Thanks, Dan.